Multiplication and division with rational expressions. Rational expressions would just be fractions where the numerator and the denominator are polynomials. In order to multiply or divide, what you first need to do is make sure that you factor all of the polynomials, and then we can simplify, which means to reduce. So we factor first and reduce second. Let's start with the first example. In the numerator right here, we have a difference of 2 squares. So we'll start by factoring the numerator first. We get x plus 3 times x minus 3. Next, factor the denominator. You have a trinomial, and so when we factor our trinomial, we have no GCF. We write 2 parentheses, 2x, x, signs are positive, should be 1 and 3. Make sure that you check your answer so that you check to make sure that you get 7x for your middle term. Next, again, should be 2x, x, plus, and again, we need factors of 5, which would be 1 and 5, and you make sure that you check again that you placed the 1 and the 5 in the correct location. And then we factor the denominator, which only has a greatest common factor of x. Once everything is factored, then we can reduce. You can only reduce or cross cancel if you are multiplying. So just make sure you understand, if we cross cancel, can only be if you're multiplying. If you are dividing, adding, or subtracting, you cannot cross cancel. We can also only reduce when we are multiplying. So let's look. In this case, I can reduce x minus 3, x minus 3. We could reduce x plus 3, x plus 3, 2x plus 1, 2x plus 1, and then we essentially have our final answer, x plus 5 over x. So this is completely simplified. Let's look at the second example, which follows the same steps. We have to start by factoring, but since we are dividing, when we divide 2 fractions, if you remember, you change the division to multiplication by the reciprocal of the second fraction only. So what we're going to do is factor and multiply by the reciprocal at the same time. We have 2x, x, signs are negative, and we have 1 and 3. Again, when you factor, check your work before you continue. Factor the denominator, x minus 2, x minus 1. Next, we need to multiply by the reciprocal, which means this right here, this trinomial is now the numerator. So we need to factor x squared minus 4x plus 3. X minus 1 and 3. Then in the denominator, we have to factor x squared minus 6x plus 9. If you factor, you get x minus 3, x minus 3. Since we have multiplication, now I can reduce. You can reduce x minus 1, x minus 1, x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3, and your final answer is 2x minus 1 over x minus 2.